Hello guys, welcome to video 5. In this video I will be explaining every single special and regular connector as well as how useful they are and where they can be used.
These are capped pins. I've already told you about them once, but I'm going to tell you again because they're just that useful. This little cap allows them to be pushed into pins pushed into beams or sticks without having to take apart what you already have. You can just already put them in, and they're so useful. And I recommend you buy them. If you're thinking of buying other parts, you can include some capped pins in your order. These are regular pins. They're pretty much the same as capped pins, but they have this little ring around the center that prevents them from being pushed through them or pulled out. So the only thing you can really do with them is put them in prior to attaching two things together. Once you attach them together and don't want to take apart, then you need to use capped pins. Are 2x1 pins. They have two little things on one side and one on the other. They can be pretty useful if you want to have a little bit distance between two beams. Then you can put these on the ends and they can be a little bit separate, and they are also the same as 1x standoffs, which I'll show you later. However, the standoffs are usually better. And these are 2x2 pins. They have two thingies on one and two on another. So these are pretty useful. They are the size of 2x standoffs. They can attach 4 beams together if you want more sturdiness, and they can provide a lot of distance between two beams or sticks. Or they have more uses than 2x1 pins, which I just showed you. This is a longer capped pin. It is basically the same as a regular one, but it has one little notch longer. It's basically like the 2x1 pin. It's the same length, but it's just capped pin, which obviously makes it better for most cases. These are standoffs. They're very strong when it comes to squeezing them like this. They're very sturdy. This design is very helpful. And there are multiple lengths. They're normally divided into short and long standoffs. These are the short standoffs. There's a 1x standoff, meaning that it has one of these little rectangles. 2x standoff, obviously meaning 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Threes you can't actually buy them. They were included in the Next Level game set, which we got a few spares, so that's why we have them. And they're actually pretty useful, so if you can get your hands on one of them for free, then you should probably do it, but I don't recommend buying a set just for this. So yeah, I'll show you a way to get pretty much the same functionality as a 3x standoff, but it won't be as sturdy. That is to use these little guys. So these guys, they have 2 holes on either side, which can be used to connect pins. So let's just say you're running low on 2x standoffs. Then what you can do is attach these 2 pins onto this thingy. And then let me pull up a 2x standoff. So they're equal lengths, which is really helpful. Although I do recommend you obviously use 2x standoff first because it's more sturdy. It's just overall better. And if you're running low on 1x standoffs, then I don't know what to tell you. You can also use these. These are even longer. They have this little circle in the middle, and they have 2 of these rectangles. If you attach 2 small pins to them, then you can make a 4x standoff. So these are only included in the standoff pack. So if you're running low on standoffs, you can buy more standoffs as well as this thing, which can allow you to make even more standoffs if you also decide to buy the pin pack with it. You can also make crazy inventions with standoffs, because standoffs have the potential to be very long and very unique. Yar! I honestly don't know the use of these pins. They basically look like normal pins, but these have this little square thingy on one side and then just a circle on the other side. The reason why they're blue is because when I bought the shafts, these come with the shaft packs and they're the same color as the shaft. So if you watch the other video, you would have seen blue shaft, and therefore I have blue these. The only thing I can really think of is this thingy has a square in the middle, so maybe it might fit in here and like spin. Doesn't seem to be spinning. And it's stuck. Great. Oh, I just realized that for these things, sometimes you want to use them as regular 1x3s, but you don't have them. I see. And if you pinch carefully enough, you can just barely pinch it out and yank it out. Nope. Ta-da! Comes the streak of connectors and special connectors. This is the very first one. It's a pretty good one. You normally attach pins here and here, and it can stick onto like one beam here, one beam here. It will stick them on like that. The next one is this one. This does not have many uses, but it looks kind of cool, so that's why I included it in my plain design right here. I don't really know any uses for this, because any places where it really is used, you have a ton of other pieces that are used for the exact same thing. Okay, so the next piece would be this piece. It kind of looks like a ship. It's basically the same thing as the other one I just showed you, but it has two little legs. So yeah, I also don't think there's many uses for this. Next is this one. Now this guy is pretty useful. You can attach him onto the middle of beams. For example, this is the middle of a beam right here. And since you can also make the length go to about this piece right here. It's a 2x1 pin. You can attach that, or you can attach a normal 1x1 pin and then attach a beam like that. So if let's just say you're using space over here, but you want using this space, then you can also add something over here with this piece. This is a relatively useful piece and I quite like it. It's a special connector. All the red ones are special connectors, by the way. They all have their own packs, so you might have to buy that too. Next is this piece. I really don't know if this piece is any good, so yeah, it's also kind of bad, in my opinion at least. This piece is pretty useful. It's kind of like a corner connector, but sometimes you only have one hole on one side where it can connect and two holes on another side. The other one that I'm about to show you requires two holes on both sides, but it's more sturdy. If you only have one hole as a free spot, then this is the ideal piece. So this is the one I was going to show you. It's basically the same thing, but it requires two holes on both sides. It's very sturdy. This piece is a little bit more useful. It's still kind of not useful because of these two pin things on the bottom. They're not that good. So next piece is a small corner connector. It's pretty good. I like this piece. It's useful for connecting beams from the corner. However, it might not be good because it's not very sturdy and it comes out easily. Also, you most likely want to pair it with 2 of these because 2 of them will make it so it's more sturdy and less likely to slip. However, 2 of them still not as good as most of the other pieces I've shown you. Next is the 5-hole thing, but with 3 things on the edge. So I don't really like this because I mostly only use it for 2, but this can have some occasional uses. Now the 2 flappies. This flappy, which has 5 but 1 extra, and this flappy, which has 7. 8. So these flappies, they can be used to make your robot even sturdier if you have enough pins like here, or like here. Or you can use them as like flaps to like hit something like, or like pick things up, like it'll rotate around and then pick something up like that and then rotate around. So kind of like an intake picker. So these are pretty useful, but you don't really use them because they're normally outclassed by the other ones. However, these can be very useful if you need something really long and relatively sturdy. This piece is kind of useless. I don't like it. It's not really anything useful. It's kind of like this piece, but it only has 1. I haven't found any point where I need to use these pieces, these 2. Now, these 2 pieces, they're pretty good. This one, it's kind of the same thing, but I've used this multiple times before. Let's just say you have 1 beam here, 1 beam like this, and you want to attach 2 beams onto it. 1, 2, like onto the edge of a beam. This can come in handy. And this one, it's basically this piece right here, but it's quite a bit better. Hang on, let me find it. Right here. It's basically this, but it has it on the other side. Sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. Okay, and we're nearing the end. This is the kind of weird piece. It's not as useful as this piece, but it still comes in handy when you need it. But you normally don't need this piece. This is a very, very useful piece, and I never have enough of these. So make sure you use these wisely and only when you actually need them, because you can use other pieces like the flappies or the smaller piece like this one. And this piece, it's kind of like a corner connector, but you can add other pins to the side, like this pin. Let's just say you want to connect something that's kind of far away, then stick that on and you'll attach it from here. Okay, so this piece, it's not really useful because these pieces, they're not that useful. It's basically the same thing, just this with the little 2 on the end. So I don't really know how good these are because I've not really used them. The final piece is this. It is this piece, except it has the things on the end. And this is pretty darn useful too. So also try to use these conservatively. There are other things that can substitute this. Only use this if you need its strength and its fit with beams. It's very strong to connect the beams and it fits pretty well. So yeah, those are all the connectors and special connectors that you can buy.
Thank you for watching. I hope you now realize how some connectors are important and where you should use those certain connectors to make your robot better and stronger. Until next time, stay tuned.